Have you ever reached for a juicy banana, a handful of sweet grapes, or a vibrant slice of mango, thinking you're making the healthiest choice for your body? These fruits, celebrated as nature's finest, are staples in our diets, especially for seniors over 60 who want to stay vibrant and strong. But what if I told you that these same fruits could be silently increasing your risk of a devastating stroke? As a neurologist with over 2 decades of experience, I've seen how seemingly innocent dietary habits can trigger catastrophic health events in aging bodies, turning a healthy snack into a hidden danger. From bananas' potassium overload to strawberries' pesticide risks, the fruits you love could be setting the stage for blood clots, inflammation, or even brain bleeds, especially when combined with common medications or consumed at the wrong time. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking truth about 9 everyday fruits, bananas, grapes, pineapples, and more, revealing how they can harm your brain and heart as you age. You'll hear real patient stories, like Mr. Raymond's stroke from a daily banana or Mrs. Elaine's battle with pesticide-laden strawberries, and learn science-backed strategies to enjoy these fruits safely without risking your health. Stick with us until the end to discover 5 brain-safe fruits and practical tips to protect your independence, memory, and vitality. Because one informed choice could be the difference between a thriving future and a life-altering health crisis. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 1. Bananas. Bananas. They're often hailed as nature's perfect snack. Soft, sweet, portable, and packed with nutrients. You've likely been told they're a heart-healthy choice, loaded with potassium to support muscle function and blood pressure regulation. For younger adults in their 30s or 40s with healthy kidneys, this is often true. But for those over 60, the story changes dramatically. As a neurologist with over 2 decades of experience treating stroke patients, I've seen how seemingly harmless habits, like eating too many bananas, can silently pave the way for catastrophic health events. As we age, our bodies undergo subtle but significant changes. The kidneys, responsible for filtering and balancing minerals like potassium, lose efficiency over time. This decline is often imperceptible, especially in the early stages, and is exacerbated by common conditions like hypertension, diabetes, or chronic kidney disease. Many seniors also take medications such as ACE inhibitors, e.g. lisinopril, ARBs, e.g. losartan, or diuretics, e.g. furosemide, which alter how the body handles potassium. These drugs, while life-saving for managing blood pressure or heart failure, can inadvertently cause potassium to accumulate in the bloodstream, a condition known as hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia is a silent threat. Excess potassium disrupts the delicate electrical balance in your heart, leading to arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats that can range from mild palpitations to life-threatening disturbances. These arrhythmias can trigger the formation of blood clots, which may travel to the brain, causing a stroke. Even more concerning, hyperkalemia can stiffen blood vessels and promote platelet aggregation, making blood stickier and more prone to clotting. For seniors, whose arteries are often already narrowed by age-related changes like atherosclerosis, this creates a perfect storm for vascular disasters. Let me share the story of Mr. Raymond Thompson, a 66-year-old retired carpenter from Toledo, Ohio. Raymond was the picture of vitality. He walked 2 miles daily, maintained a tidy garden, and prided himself on his healthy diet. His morning routine included a bowl of oatmeal topped with a sliced banana, washed down with orange juice alongside his prescribed ACE inhibitor for hypertension. This routine, which he'd followed diligently for over a year, seemed innocuous, until it wasn't. One chilly morning, his wife found him slumped in their bathroom, unable to move his left arm or leg. His speech was garbled, and his face drooped on one side. At the hospital, imaging confirmed an ischemic stroke caused by a clot blocking a critical artery in his brain. Blood tests revealed the culprit. Raymond's potassium levels were alarmingly high at 6.2 millimoles per liter, normal range, 3.5 to 5.0 millimoles per liter. The combination of his daily banana, his medication, and his aging kidneys had created a dangerous imbalance. The excess potassium had disrupted his heart rhythm overnight, likely triggering a clot that traveled to his brain. Raymond survived, But the stroke left him with permanent weakness on his left side and difficulty speaking, robbing him of the independence he cherished. Here's what most seniors don't realize. You don't need as much potassium as you think, especially if your kidneys aren't functioning at full capacity. A single large banana contains approximately 450 to 500 milligrams of potassium, nearly a quarter of the daily recommended intake for adults, 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams. For someone with compromised kidney function or on potassium-retaining medications, this can push potassium levels into dangerous territory, especially if consumed rapidly or in combination with other potassium-rich foods like orange juice, avocados, or spinach. The timing of consumption matters just as much as the quantity. Eating a banana at night, when your body's metabolism slows, blood flow decreases, and dehydration is more likely, especially if you're not drinking enough water, amplifies the risk. Medications like ACE inhibitors or diuretics are often most active at night, further compounding the problem. The result? A cascade of events: elevated potassium, irregular heart rhythms, constricted blood vessels, and clot formation that can culminate in a stroke with no warning. What can you do? Practical advice for seniors. If you're over 60, especially if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or take heart medications, take these steps to enjoy bananas safely. Limit portion size. Stick to half a banana per day, about 200 to 250 milligrams of potassium. This provides the benefits of potassium without overwhelming your system. Time it right. Eat bananas in the morning, when your body is active and better equipped to process nutrients. Avoid consuming them at night, especially within a few hours of bedtime. Pair with protein or fat. Combine your banana with Greek yogurt, a handful of nuts, or a slice of whole grain toast with peanut butter. These foods slow digestion and absorption, preventing a rapid potassium spike. Avoid potassium overload. Skip banana-heavy recipes like smoothies, banana bread, or multiple servings in one sitting. Be mindful of other potassium-rich foods in your diet, such as potatoes, tomatoes, or sports drinks. Consult your doctor. Ask your physician or pharmacist how your medications interact with potassium-rich foods. Request regular blood tests to monitor your potassium levels, especially if you have kidney issues or are on ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or diuretics. Stay hydrated. Adequate water intake helps your kidneys flush excess potassium. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, unless your doctor advises otherwise. By making these adjustments, you can still enjoy bananas without putting your heart or brain at risk. The key is moderation, timing, and awareness of your body's changing needs. If Raymond had known these risks, he might have avoided the stroke that changed his life. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 2. Grapes. Grapes. They're the quintessential healthy snack, juicy, bite-sized, and bursting with flavor. Whether red, green, or black, grapes are a staple on fruit platters, in lunchboxes, and at family gatherings. Their natural sweetness feels like a guilt-free indulgence, and their antioxidant content, particularly resveratrol in red grapes, has been touted for heart health. But for seniors over 60, especially those with diabetes, prediabetes, or vascular issues, grapes can be a silent saboteur, increasing the risk of stroke through a cascade of metabolic and inflammatory effects. The problem lies in the grape's high sugar content. A single cup of seedless grapes, about 15 to 20 grapes, contains roughly 23 grams of sugar, primarily glucose and fructose, with minimal fiber to slow absorption. This is equivalent to the sugar in a small candy bar, but without the unhealthy label. For younger, active individuals with robust insulin sensitivity, this sugar load is usually manageable. But as we age, our bodies become less adept at handling rapid blood sugar spikes. Insulin resistance creeps in, blood vessels grow more fragile, and chronic conditions like hypertension or atherosclerosis compound the problem. When you eat a handful of grapes, especially on an empty stomach, the sugars are absorbed quickly, causing a sharp spike in blood glucose. This triggers a surge of insulin, which, over time, promotes inflammation in the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, the delicate inner layer that keeps blood flowing smoothly. Chronic inflammation causes these vessels to stiffen and narrow, creating an environment ripe for plaque buildup and clot formation. In the brain, where tiny arteries are particularly vulnerable, these changes can lead to a stroke or transient ischemic attack, TIA, often called a mini-stroke. Let me tell you about Mrs. Jeanette Morris, an 80-year-old retired schoolteacher from Springfield, Missouri. Jeanette was a health enthusiast, shunning processed foods and sugary drinks in favor of fresh produce. Her daily ritual included a mid-morning bowl of red grapes, often 2 cups worth, while she read the newspaper or caught up on the news. She saw grapes as a wholesome alternative to cookies or candy. But one afternoon, while writing a birthday card for her grandson, Jeanette's vision suddenly blurred. Her right hand began to tremble, and she struggled to recall the word, "congratulations." Her daughter, alarmed, rushed her to the emergency room, where doctors diagnosed a TIA caused by a temporary clot blocking blood flow to her brain. Lab tests revealed a troubling pattern. Jeanette's blood sugar spiked sharply around midday, correlating with her grape-heavy snack. Her A1C, a measure of average blood sugar over 3 months, had climbed to 6.2%, placing her in the pre-diabetic range, a condition she hadn't suspected, given her healthy diet. Further tests showed elevated markers of vascular inflammation, likely fueled by years of consuming high-sugar fruits like grapes without balancing them with protein or fiber. While Jeanette recovered from her TIA, she now faces ongoing challenges with memory and fine motor skills, a stark reminder of how quickly a stroke can steal independence. The science behind grapes' risks is clear. Rapid blood sugar spikes trigger a release of pro-inflammatory molecules like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, which damage blood vessel walls over time. In seniors, whose arteries are often already compromised by age-related changes or conditions like hypertension, this inflammation accelerates atherosclerosis, the buildup of fatty plaques that narrow arteries. When a plaque ruptures, it can trigger a clot that blocks blood flow to the brain, causing a stroke. Even without a full-blown stroke, repeated sugar spikes can contribute to silent brain damage, manifesting as memory lapses, difficulty concentrating, or mood changes. Timing and context are critical. Eating grapes alone, especially when dehydrated, stressed, or sedentary, amplifies their impact. Dehydration thickens the blood, increasing clotting risk, while stress hormones like cortisol exacerbate insulin resistance. Consuming grapes at night, when your body's metabolic processes slow, can prolong these effects, setting the stage for vascular complications while you sleep. What can you do? Practical advice for seniors to enjoy grapes safely and minimize their risks. Follow these guidelines. Control portions. Limit yourself to a small handful of grapes, 8 to 10 grapes, about 10 to 12 grams of sugar per serving. Avoid eating them by the bowlful or as a standalone snack. Pair with protein or fat. Combine grapes with a handful of almonds, a slice of cheese, or a boiled egg. These foods slow sugar absorption, reducing blood glucose spikes and inflammation. Choose the right time. Eat grapes earlier in the day, ideally during active hours when your body can metabolize the sugar. Avoid them at night or when dehydrated. Monitor your health. If you have diabetes, prediabetes, or are on medications like metformin or blood pressure drugs, consult your doctor about whether grapes are safe for you. Regular blood sugar and A1C monitoring can catch problems early. Opt for lower sugar fruits. Consider swapping grapes for berries like blueberries or raspberries, which have less sugar and more fiber, reducing their impact on blood glucose. Stay active. Light physical activity, like a 10-minute walk after eating, can help your body process sugar more effectively and reduce vascular stress. By treating grapes as an occasional treat rather than a daily staple, you can enjoy their flavor without jeopardizing the conditions for a stroke. The key is balance, awareness, and respect for how your body changes with age. Number 3. Pineapple acid and sugar combo. Pineapple is often hailed as a guilt-free indulgence, its vibrant yellow flesh evoking images of tropical beaches and sunny days. For many seniors, it's a go-to dessert or snack, valued for its sweet tangy flavor and reputation as a healthy choice packed with vitamins and enzymes. However, as a neurologist, I've seen how this fruit, when consumed at the wrong time or in excess, can contribute to a cascade of physiological changes that elevate stroke risk, particularly during the vulnerable overnight hours. The role of bromelain in blood clotting. Pineapple contains bromelain, a group of enzymes known for breaking down proteins. In moderate amounts, bromelain may support digestion by helping the body process proteins more efficiently, which is why pineapple is often recommended as a digestive aid. However, in larger quantities, say, multiple slices or a cup or more in one sitting, bromelain can have unintended effects on the body's clotting mechanisms. Bromelain has mild anticoagulant properties, meaning it can reduce platelet aggregation and thin the blood slightly. For younger, healthy individuals, this effect is typically negligible. But for seniors, particularly those over 60, whose blood vessels are naturally thinner and whose clotting systems are more delicate, this can create a precarious balance CE. Many seniors are prescribed medications like aspirin, warfarin, or other anticoagulants to prevent blood clots. Combining these medications with excessive bromelain can amplify their effects, increasing the risk of excessive bleeding or, paradoxically, triggering compensatory clot formation as the body tries to stabilize itself. This imbalance can be particularly dangerous during sleep, when blood pressure and circulation naturally dip, creating an environment where clots or bleeds in the brain's delicate arteries can lead to a stroke. The sugar spike and its impact on blood vessels. A single cup of pineapple contains approximately 16 grams of natural sugar, with a glycemic index, GI, of 59 to 66, placing it in the moderate to high range compared to low GI fruits like berries, GI 25-40, or apples, GI 36. This means pineapple causes a rapid spike in blood glucose, flooding the bloodstream with sugar. For seniors, whose metabolism is slower and whose insulin sensitivity may be impaired, this spike can linger, placing undue stress on blood vessels. When consumed late in the day, such as after dinner, this sugar surge isn't burned off through physical activity. Instead, it circulates in the bloodstream, contributing to endothelial dysfunction, where the inner lining of blood vessels becomes inflamed or less flexible. Over time, this can lead to atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaques in arteries, which narrows blood flow to the brain and increases the risk of ischemic stroke. For seniors with pre-existing conditions like hypertension or diabetes, this effect is magnified, as their blood vessels are already under strain. Acidic assault, reflux and stroke risk. Pineapple is one of the most acidic fruits commonly consumed in the American diet, with a pH range of 3.2 to 4.0. This acidity can irritate the esophagus, particularly in seniors who are prone to gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, which becomes more common with age due to weakened esophageal sphincters and slower digestion. In some cases, this reflux is silent, meaning it occurs without the classic symptom of heartburn. Instead, it can lead to microaspiration, where tiny amounts of stomach acid are inhaled into the lungs during sleep. Microaspiration can cause subtle but dangerous changes in the body. It increases airway pressure and reduces oxygen saturation, depriving the brain of adequate oxygen during sleep. This hypoxia, combined with the stress of acid irritation, has been linked to early morning strokes, which are often the most severe due to the brain's vulnerability during the low circulation hours of 4 to 6 a.m. Research suggests that chronic silent reflux may contribute to a 20 to 30% increased risk of stroke in older adults by exacerbating vascular stress and reducing cerebral blood flow. A case study. Mrs. Clara Hughes. To illustrate, let me share the story of Mrs. Clara Hughes, a 77-year-old retired choir director from North Carolina. Clara was vibrant, active, and meticulous about her diet. To avoid processed sugars, she replaced her evening desserts with a few slices of fresh pineapple, believing it was a healthy choice. For over a year, this became her nightly ritual. Unbeknownst to her, this habit was setting the stage for a life-altering event. One morning, Clara awoke feeling disoriented and foggy. Her daughter noticed her slurring words and struggling to walk steadily. At the hospital, a CT scan revealed a posterior circulation stroke, affecting the areas of her brain responsible for balance and coordination. Blood tests showed elevated glucose levels, signs of chronic esophageal irritation from silent reflux, and irregular platelet function. The combination of pineapple's sugar spikes, acidic irritation, and bromelaine's interference with her clotting system had created a perfect storm that culminated in her stroke. Clara's case is not unique. I've seen similar patterns in other patients, where seemingly innocent dietary habits amplify underlying vulnerabilities. For seniors, the body's ability to buffer these effects diminishes with age, making timing and moderation critical. Recommendations for safe pineapple consumption. To enjoy pineapple without risking your brain health, consider the following. Limit portion size. Stick to half a cup, about 80 to 100 grams, per serving to minimize sugar and bromelain overload. Eat earlier in the day. Consume pineapple at breakfast or lunch, when your body can metabolize the sugar through activity, rather than at night when it lingers in the bloodstream. Avoid on an empty stomach. The acidity can exacerbate stomach lining irritation, especially for those with GERD or sensitive digestion. Check medication interactions. If you're on blood thinners, e.g., aspirin, warfarin, or antiplatelet drugs, Consult your doctor about pineapple consumption, as bromelain may amplify their effects. Monitor for reflux. If you experience even mild symptoms of acid reflux, avoid pineapple in the evening to reduce the risk of silent aspiration during sleep. By following these guidelines, you can savor pineapple's tropical flavor without compromising your vascular or neurological health. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 4. Watermelon. Watermelon is synonymous with summer joy. Think chilled slices at a 4th of July picnic, seed-spitting contests with grandchildren, or a refreshing snack after a day in the sun. With its 92% water content, it's marketed as the ultimate hydrating fruit, rich in vitamins A and C and the antioxidant lycopene. For seniors, it seems like a perfect low-calorie way to stay hydrated and healthy. But as a neurologist, I'm alarmed by how often watermelon's hidden diuretic effects catch older adults off guard, potentially leading to dehydration and increased stroke risk. Diuretic effect and dehydration danger. While watermelon is indeed hydrating due to its high water content, it also acts as a natural diuretic, meaning it increases urine production. This effect is driven by its high potassium content, about 170 milligrams per cup, and low sodium levels, which signal the kidneys to excrete more water. For young, healthy individuals, this is rarely an issue, as their bodies can quickly rebalance fluids. But for seniors, particularly those with cardiovascular conditions or on medications like diuretics, e.g., furosemide, or ACE inhibitors, e.g., lisinopril, this diuretic effect can tip the body into overnight dehydration. Dehydration thickens the blood, increasing its viscosity. Imagine blood flowing like syrup through narrow, age-stiffened arteries. This sluggish flow gives clots more time to form, especially in the brain's delicate vessels. During sleep, when circulation naturally slows and blood pressure dips, a phenomenon called nocturnal dipping, this thickened blood becomes a silent risk factor for ischemic stroke, where a clot blocks blood flow to the brain. Studies indicate that dehydration can increase stroke risk by up to 60% in older adults, particularly when combined with low blood pressure or existing vascular disease. The medication trap. Many seniors take diuretics or blood pressure medications to manage conditions like heart failure or hypertension. These drugs already reduce fluid volume, and adding watermelon's diuretic effect can exacerbate fluid loss. This is particularly dangerous at night, when the body's fluid regulation is less active. For example, a senior taking a diuretic who eats a large serving of watermelon, 2 to 3 cups, after dinner may lose excessive fluid through urination, leading to low blood volume, hypovolemia, and concentrated blood by morning. A case study. Mr. Howard Larkin. Consider Mr. Howard Larkin, an 82-year-old retired postal worker from Indiana. Howard was diligent about his health, walking daily and avoiding processed foods. To stay hydrated in the summer, he adopted a habit of eating 2 to 3 large slices of watermelon after dinner. He was also taking a diuretic for mild heart failure, a common condition in seniors that requires careful fluid management. One morning, Howard woke up with severe vertigo and collapsed when he tried to stand. At the hospital, his blood pressure was dangerously low, 90/60 millimeter of mercury, and blood tests showed elevated hemoglobin and hematocrit levels, indicating dehydration and thickened blood. A brain scan confirmed a small ischemic stroke in the cerebellum, likely triggered by a clot forming in his narrowed arteries overnight. The combination of his diuretic medication and watermelon's fluid pulling effect had dehydrated him to a critical point, slowing blood flow and setting the stage for the stroke. Howard survived, but the stroke left him with impaired balance and coordination. Once an independent man who mowed his lawn, he now relies on a cane and assistance for daily tasks. His story underscores a critical lesson. Even hydrating foods can become dehydrating when combined with age-related vulnerabilities and medications. The silent symptoms of dehydration. Seniors are less likely to feel thirst due to age-related changes in the hypothalamus, the brain region that regulates thirst. This makes it harder to detect dehydration until symptoms become severe. Warning signs include morning dizziness or lightheadedness, mouth or throat, especially upon waking. If you notice these symptoms, they may indicate that your fluid balance is off, potentially exacerbated by foods like watermelon. Recommendations for safe watermelon consumption. Enjoy watermelon safely. Follow these guidelines. Eat in moderation. Limit servings to 1 cup, about 150 to 200 grams, to minimize diuretic effects. Time it right. Consume watermelon earlier in the day, ideally before 3 p.m., to allow your body to process the fluid and avoid overnight dehydration. Pair with electrolytes. Add a pinch of salt or drink coconut water alongside watermelon to replenish sodium and potassium lost through urination. Consult your doctor. If you're on diuretics, ACE inhibitors, or other blood pressure medications, ask about safe fruit consumption to avoid compounding fluid loss. Monitor symptoms. Be alert for signs of dehydration, especially if you eat watermelon regularly. By respecting your body's unique needs, you can enjoy watermelon's refreshing taste without risking your brain health. Number 5. Oranges. Oranges have long held a cherished place in American culture, symbolizing vitality, health, and wholesome tradition. Picture a sunlit breakfast table adorned with a pitcher of fresh squeezed orange juice, a bowl of vibrant orange slices shared at a family gathering, or the nostalgic joy of finding a plump navel orange nestled in a Christmas stocking. For generations, oranges have been celebrated as nature's vitamin C powerhouse, a go-to remedy for colds and a beacon of wellness. But for older adults, particularly those managing complex health conditions with heart or blood pressure medications, this seemingly innocent fruit can transform into a silent saboteur, setting off a cascade of biochemical reactions that could lead to catastrophic consequences like blood clots, strokes, or heart complications. The danger lies not only in the natural sugars found in oranges, though a single large orange or an 8-ounce glass of juice can deliver a rapid spike in blood glucose, challenging the metabolic stability of seniors. The true culprit is a lesser-known compound called furanocoumarin, a naturally occurring chemical found in citrus fruits like oranges, grapefruits, and Seville oranges. Most people, including many seniors, have never heard of furanocoumarins, yet these compounds can wreak havoc when combined with certain medications, particularly statins, used to lower cholesterol, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure control, and blood thinners to prevent clotting. Furanocoumarins interfere with a critical enzyme in the liver known as CYP3A4, which is responsible for metabolizing many prescription drugs. When this enzyme is inhibited, the body's ability to break down and clear medications is disrupted. The result? Medications can either accumulate to toxic levels in the bloodstream, amplifying their effects and side effects, or be flushed out too quickly, rendering them ineffective. Both scenarios are dangerous. For instance, excessive levels of a statin like atorvastatin can lead to myopathy, muscle damage, or rhabdomyolysis, a severe condition that can harm the kidneys. Similarly, amplified effects of blood pressure medications can cause dangerously low blood pressure, leading to dizziness, fainting, or worse, while improper metabolism of blood thinners can destabilize blood clotting, increasing the risk of strokes or internal bleeding. As a neurologist with over 2 decades of experience, I've witnessed the devastating consequences of these seemingly innocuous dietary choices. One patient, Mr. Elmer Bryant, a 79-year-old retired bus driver from Augusta, Georgia, stands out as a poignant example. Elmer was a warm, jovial man who took pride in his healthy lifestyle. He diligently took his prescribed medications, atorvastatin for high cholesterol and amlodipine for hypertension, and embraced what he believed was a wholesome habit, starting each day with a tall glass of freshly squeezed orange juice, which he affectionately called his sunshine in a glass. Unbeknownst to him, the furanocoumarins in that daily ritual were silently undermining his health. Over months, the furanocoumarins blocked the CYP3A4 enzyme in Elmer's liver, preventing the proper metabolism of his medications. His blood levels of amlodipine spiked, intensifying its blood pressure-lowering effects and causing episodes of lightheadedness he dismissed as just getting old. Simultaneously, the atorvastatin accumulated in his muscles and bloodstream, triggering low-grade inflammation and weakening his vascular system. One quiet morning, after days of feeling slightly off, Elmer stood up from his recliner to answer the phone and collapsed. His wife, frantic, called 911 as Elmer struggled with slurred speech and confusion. In the ER, a CT scan revealed a mild ischemic stroke, caused by a small blood clot that had lodged in a cerebral artery. Blood tests confirmed dangerously elevated levels of his medications, not because he had overdosed, but because the orange juice had prevented his liver from clearing them properly. The resulting instability in his blood flow, combined with the inflammation from excessive statins, had created the perfect conditions for a clot to form and travel to his brain. When I sat down with Elmer and his wife to explain the role of his beloved orange juice, their shock was palpable. "All my life, I thought orange juice was good for me," Elmer said, his voice heavy with disbelief. And it was decades ago, when his body was younger, more resilient, and unburdened by medications. The aging body, however, operates differently. As we age, our liver's efficiency declines, and the cytochrome P450 system becomes less adept at metabolizing drugs. The kidneys, too, may struggle to clear excess compounds, making seniors particularly vulnerable to drug-food interactions. Oranges, grapefruits, Seville oranges, and even tangerines, when consumed regularly or in large quantities, can tip the balance from health to harm. For those over 60, I strongly advise consuming citrus fruits sparingly and with caution, especially if you're on medications. Here's how to protect yourself. Consult your doctor or pharmacist. Before enjoying oranges or their juice, ask whether they interact with your medications. Statins like atorvastatin or simvastatin, calcium channel blockers like amlodipine, and blood thinners like warfarin are particularly susceptible. Opt for safer citrus. If you love citrus, choose lower-risk options like clementines or mandarins, which have lower furanocoumarin content. Squeeze a small splash of juice into water for flavor rather than drinking full glasses. Time your consumption. If your doctor approves limited citrus intake, consume it several hours before or after taking your medications to minimize interactions. Monitor your body. Watch for symptoms like dizziness, muscle pain, or unusual fatigue, which could signal medication buildup or vascular instability. The lesson here is clear. It's not just your medicine cabinet that demands attention, it's your fruit bowl. A single, well-intentioned habit, repeated daily, can quietly set the stage for a health crisis. If this revelation about oranges surprises you, brace yourself for the next fruit on our list, one that's often celebrated as the epitome of health but hides a dangerous sugar trap that could destabilize your blood vessels and brain. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 6. Apples. Surprise sugar trap. Apples are the quintessential symbol of American health, immortalized in the adage, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away." From shiny red delicious apples handed out in school lunchrooms to crisp Honey Crisps savored as a wholesome snack, apples are a cultural staple, associated with vitality and natural goodness. For seniors, they're often a go-to choice, offered in hospital cafeterias, packed in senior center meal programs, or lovingly tucked into care packages by well-meaning family members. But for older adults, particularly those over 60 managing conditions like hypertension, diabetes, or early cognitive decline, apples can pose an unexpected risk, contributing to vascular instability and increasing the likelihood of stroke through their hidden sugar content and its impact on the aging body. The issue lies in the glycemic load of many popular apple varieties. While apples contain fiber, antioxidants like quercetin, and some vitamins, modern cultivars like Fuji, Honeycrisp, and Gala have been selectively bred for sweetness, prioritizing taste over nutritional balance. These apples are high in fructose and glucose, natural sugars that can cause rapid blood sugar spikes when consumed in large quantities or without other foods to slow digestion. For younger, healthier individuals, the body can often manage these spikes. But in seniors, whose metabolic systems are less resilient, these surges can wreak havoc on blood sugar regulation, vascular health, and even brain function. When you eat a sweet apple like a Honeycrisp on an empty stomach, its sugars are absorbed quickly, causing a sharp rise in blood glucose. This triggers a surge of insulin, which attempts to shuttle the sugar into cells. However, in older adults, especially those with insulin resistance or prediabetes, this process is less efficient. The rapid spike and subsequent crash in blood sugar create a roller coaster effect that stresses the cardiovascular system. Here's how it unfolds. Increased blood viscosity. High blood sugar makes blood more acidic and sticky, promoting the formation of microclots that can accumulate in narrowed arteries. Vascular inflammation. Repeated sugar spikes damage the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of blood vessels, creating microtears that the body repairs with clot, a potential stroke trigger. Blood pressure fluctuations. Insulin surges cause blood vessels to constrict, raising blood pressure and straining already fragile arteries, particularly those supplying the brain. Over time, this cycle of sugar spikes and crashes, often unnoticed because they don't always cause dramatic symptoms, erodes vascular health, setting the stage for ischemic strokes, caused by clots, or transient ischemic attacks, TIAs, often called mini-strokes. For seniors with existing risk factors like hypertension, high cholesterol, or atrial fibrillation, the daily habit of eating high-sugar apples can tip the scales toward disaster. Consider the case of Mrs. Louise Hammond, an 81-year-old retired librarian from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Louise was the picture of healthy aging. She walked a mile daily, adhered to her prescribed medications for hypertension and mild insulin resistance, and prided herself on a clean diet free of processed snacks. Her afternoon ritual was a large Honeycrisp apple, which she considered a guilt-free treat. But what Louise didn't realize was that her insulin resistance made her particularly vulnerable to the glycemic load of those sweet apples. Each afternoon, her blood sugar would spike, stressing her aging blood vessels and causing subtle inflammation. Over months, Louise began noticing minor symptoms: occasional blurry vision in the evenings, a faint pressure in her head when standing, and moments of fatigue she attributed to age. One evening, while chopping vegetables for dinner, she suddenly struggled to form words. Her daughter, alarmed, rushed her to the ER, where imaging confirmed a minor ischemic stroke. Blood tests revealed unstable glucose patterns and elevated markers of endothelial inflammation, indicating damage to her blood vessel linings. The likely trigger: a clot formed during one of her daily blood sugar spikes, lodging in a cerebral artery. Louise recovered with therapy, but her perspective on apples shifted dramatically. To enjoy apples safely, seniors must approach them with strategy and awareness. Here are my recommendations, informed by years of clinical practice. Choose low-sugar varieties. Opt for Granny Smith or Braeburn apples, which have a lower glycemic index and higher levels of brain-protective polyphenol. These compounds can help reduce oxidative stress in blood vessels. Pair with protein or fat. Eat apples with a tablespoon of almond butter, a slice of cheese, or a handful of nuts to slow sugar absorption and stabilize blood glucose. Avoid eating on an empty stomach. Consuming sweet apples alone, especially in the evening when insulin sensitivity is lower, amplifies their glycemic impact. Portion control. Stick to half an apple or a small one, about the size of a tennis ball, to minimize sugar load. Monitor your health. If you experience symptoms like dizziness, blurred vision, or headaches after eating apples, consult your doctor to check for blood sugar or vascular issues. Apples aren't the enemy, but they're not the infallible health food we've been led to believe. For seniors, the key is balance and informed choices. The wrong apple, eaten at the wrong time, can quietly destabilize your blood vessels, setting the stage for a stroke that strikes without warning. If this insight about apples caught you off guard, the next fruit may shock you even more. Cherries, vibrant, antioxidant-rich, and often touted as a heart-healthy superfood, harbor a hidden compound that can thin your blood excessively, especially if you're on medications like blood thinners. For some seniors, this could mean the difference between a healthy heart and a dangerous brain bleed. Stay tuned as we explore cherries and their surprising risks. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 7. Cherries, a hidden source of salicylates. Cherries are nature's candy. Small, vibrant, and bursting with flavor. Their deep red and purple hues signal a treasure trove of antioxidants, earning them a glowing reputation as one of the healthiest fruits in the American diet. Doctors and nutritionists champion cherries for their anti-inflammatory properties, potential to ease arthritis pain, and even benefits for heart health. You'll find them celebrated in senior wellness magazines, stocked in organic food markets, and incorporated into everything from yogurt parfaits to kale salads. For many, they're the perfect guilt-free dessert, a symbol of wholesome eating. But beneath their sweet, juicy appeal lies a lesser-known risk, particularly for older adults managing complex health conditions or taking medications like blood thinners. The culprit? A natural compound called salicylates can silently amplify the effects of certain drugs, turning a healthy habit into a dangerous one. The science behind the risk: salicylates are naturally occurring compounds found in many fruits, vegetables, and spices, but cherries, especially tart varieties like Montmorency or Bing, contain notably high levels. These compounds act as a natural blood-thinning agent, working similarly to aspirin by inhibiting platelet aggregation and reducing the blood's ability to clot. For most healthy individuals, this can be a boon, potentially lowering the risk of heart attack or stroke by keeping blood flowing smoothly. However, for older adults already on medications like warfarin, Plavix, or even daily low-dose aspirin, the addition of dietary salicylates can create a dangerous synergy. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at metabolizing and excreting compounds like salicylates. The liver and kidneys, which play a key role in clearing these substances, slow down, allowing salicylates to accumulate in the bloodstream. For someone on blood thinners, this can push the body's clotting mechanisms beyond a safe threshold, an effect known as over-anticoagulation. When blood becomes too thin, it loses its ability to form clots effectively, even when needed to seal small injuries. This can lead to fragile blood vessels leaking under pressure, causing bruising, internal bleeding, or in the worst cases, hemorrhagic stroke, a life-threatening bleed inside the brain. The danger is compounded because the effects are insidious. Unlike a medication overdose, which might cause immediate symptoms, the impact of dietary salicylates builds gradually. A bowl of cherries here, a glass of cherry juice there, and over weeks or months, the cumulative effect can tip the scales toward disaster. Most people, including healthcare providers, rarely connect such symptoms to a seemingly innocent fruit, making this a hidden risk that catches many by surprise. A real-life cautionary tale. Let me share the story of Mr. Daniel Rhodes, an 84-year-old retired train conductor from Springfield, Illinois. Daniel was a vibrant man, determined to stay active for his great-grandchildren. Years earlier, he'd suffered a mild heart attack and was prescribed a daily low-dose aspirin, 81 milligrams, to prevent further cardiovascular events. He also took a statin for cholesterol and a beta blocker for blood pressure. A health-conscious eater, Daniel had read about the benefits of cherries for inflammation and joint pain, conditions that occasionally bothered him. Every evening, he ended his dinner with a small bowl of fresh or frozen cherries, calling them nature's dessert. He felt good about his choice. Cherries were natural, low-calorie, and packed with health benefits. What could go wrong? 4 months. There were no obvious signs of trouble. Daniel felt fine, even energetic. But gradually, subtle symptoms emerged: occasional headaches, mild dizziness, and bouts of nausea he attributed to aging or indigestion. One morning, everything changed. He woke up confused, unable to form clear sentences, and vomited twice. His wife, alarmed, rushed him to the emergency room. A CT scan revealed a devastating diagnosis: a hemorrhagic stroke caused by a ruptured blood vessel in his brain. His blood was so thin that it couldn't clot to stop the bleeding, allowing blood to pool and damage delicate brain tissue. The medical team was puzzled at first. Daniel's medication doses were correct, his blood pressure was stable, and there was no history of trauma. After a detailed review of his diet and lifestyle, the pieces came together. The cherries he ate nightly were delivering a steady dose of salicylates, which, combined with his aspirin, had pushed his blood's clotting ability to a dangerously low level. The result was a perfect storm that led to the brain bleed. Daniel survived, but the stroke left him with partial speech impairment and difficulty walking. His days of chasing his great-grandkids around the yard were over, a heartbreaking outcome for a man who thought he was doing everything right. Why this matters for older adults. Daniel's story underscores a critical truth. Even natural foods can interact with medications in ways that mimic a drug overdose. Aging bodies are more vulnerable to these interactions. The liver's cytochrome P450 enzymes, which metabolize both drugs and dietary compounds, become less efficient with age. Kidney function declines, slowing the clearance of substances like salicylates. Blood vessels, already fragile from years of wear and tear, are more prone to rupture when clotting is impaired. For seniors on blood thinners or anti-platelet drugs, foods high in salicylates, like cherries, almonds, or certain spices, can act like an unmonitored medication, pushing the body into a state of imbalance. The risk isn't limited to cherries alone. Other foods high in salicylates include raisins, prunes, and certain berries, but cherries stand out due to their popularity and concentrated salicylate content, especially in processed forms like cherry juice or concentrates. These products, often marketed as anti-inflammatory supplements, can deliver a salicylate dose equivalent to a low-dose aspirin tablet, yet they come with no warning labels or dosing instructions. Practical advice for cherry lovers: if you're an older adult who loves cherries, you don't need to swear them off entirely, but you must consume them mindfully. Here are some evidence-based tips to enjoy cherries safely. Moderation is key. Limit cherries to a small handful, about 10 to 15 cherries, a few times a week rather than daily. Avoid cherry juice, concentrates, or supplements, which deliver a higher salicylate dose in a single serving. Check your medications. If you're on blood thinners, warfarin, Plavix, Eliquis, or daily aspirin, consult your doctor or pharmacist before making cherries a regular part of your diet. They may recommend monitoring your INR, International Normalized Ratio, a measure of blood clotting time, to ensure you're not over-anticoagulated. Watch for symptoms. Be alert for signs of excessive blood thinning, such as easy bruising, nosebleeds, blood in the urine or stool, or unusual headaches and dizziness. These could indicate a problem brewing, especially if you're consuming high salicylate foods regularly. Consider alternatives. If you're seeking anti-inflammatory fruits, opt for low salicylate options like bananas, pears, or mangoes, with caveats, as we'll discuss later. These provide antioxidants without the blood-thinning risk. Know your body. Aging changes how your body processes food and drugs. What was safe at 40 may not be at 70 or 80. Regular check-ins with your healthcare provider can help you tailor your diet to your current health needs. Cherries are a delicious and nutritious fruit, but their hidden salicylate content can turn them from a health food into a health risk for vulnerable individuals. The lesson here is simple but profound. Natural doesn't always mean safe, especially when your body is already navigating the complexities of aging and prescription medications. When blood becomes too thin, it doesn't just leak, it rushes, leaving a trail of damage that can steal your independence, your mobility, or even your life. If this insight about cherries has you rethinking your diet, brace yourself for another surprise. There's another fruit, often praised for its antioxidant prowess and served in elegant bowls at senior brunches, that carries a hidden danger far worse than you've been told. Let's dive into the truth about strawberries and why their bright red shine may conceal a toxic threat to your brain. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 5 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 8. Strawberries. Strawberries are the darling of the fruit world, heart-shaped, ruby red, and perfectly balanced between sweet and tart. They're a staple in healthy eating, gracing hospital meal trays, blended into brain-boosting smoothies, and featured at brunches in retirement communities across the country. Dietitians tout their high vitamin C content, fiber, and antioxidants like anthocyanins, which are linked to improved heart health and cognitive function. For many seniors, strawberries feel like a safe, indulgent choice, a way to enjoy something sweet while staying healthy. But beneath their alluring exterior lies a trio of risks that can silently increase the likelihood of stroke, inflammation, and long-term brain toxicity, particularly for older adults. These risks stem from pesticides, purines, and even mold, making strawberries a potential hazard for aging bodies already under stress. The pesticide problem. Strawberries consistently rank at the top of the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen list, an annual ranking of produce with the highest pesticide residues, even after thorough washing. Conventional strawberry farming relies heavily on chemical pesticides, fungicides, and herbicides to protect crops from pests and disease. These chemicals include compounds like chlorpyrifos, captan, and bifenthrin, many of which are classified as neurotoxic, meaning they can damage brain cells and disrupt neurological function. For younger individuals with robust detoxification systems, the body can often clear these toxins before they cause significant harm. But for older adults, whose liver and kidney function decline with age, these chemicals linger longer, accumulating in fatty tissues, including the brain. Over time, this buildup can wreak havoc on the brain's delicate vasculature. Pesticides like chlorpyrifos inhibit acetylcholinesterase, an enzyme critical for nerve function, leading to oxidative stress and inflammation in neurons. This weakens the structural integrity of small blood vessels, particularly in the brain's white matter, which is already vulnerable in aging adults. Damaged vessels are more prone to microbleeds or blockages, increasing the risk of ischemic stroke, caused by blood clots, or vascular dementia, a form of cognitive decline driven by impaired blood flow to the brain. Studies have linked long-term pesticide exposure to a higher incidence of Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and other neurodegenerative conditions, making strawberries a risky choice for seniors who consume them regularly. Purines and the gout connection beyond pesticides. Strawberries pose another threat through their purine content. Purines are natural compounds found in many foods, including strawberries, that break down into uric acid during metabolism. For most people, uric acid is excreted efficiently by the kidneys, but in older adults, particularly those with kidney disease, gout, or vascular inflammation, this process is less effective. Elevated uric acid levels can trigger inflammatory cascades that narrow blood vessels, raise blood pressure, and promote clot formation. These effects are particularly dangerous in the brain, where even a small clot can disrupt blood flow, leading to a transient ischemic attack, TIA, or mini-stroke, or a full-blown ischemic stroke. For seniors with a history of gout or hypertension, strawberries can act like a slow-burning fuse. The uric acid buildup doesn't cause immediate symptoms but gradually fuels systemic inflammation, stiffening arteries, and increases the risk of cardiovascular events. This is especially concerning for those on diuretics, water pills, or other blood pressure medications, which can further impair uric acid. Mold. Many strawberries are also highly susceptible to mold, particularly in warm, humid conditions or when stored improperly. Mold toxins, or mycotoxins, can contaminate strawberries even if they appear fresh. These toxins, such as patulin or ochratoxin, are invisible and tasteless but can penetrate deep into the fruit. For older adults with compromised immune systems, mycotoxins can trigger inflammation, weaken blood vessels, and exacerbate neurological damage when combined with pesticide exposure. Frozen strawberries, often used in smoothies, are particularly risky, as they may come from bulk batches grown in countries with lax pesticide and mold regulations. A patient story. The cost of a healthy habit. Consider the case of Mrs. Elaine Carter, an 80-year-old widow from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Elaine was a health enthusiast, always looking for ways to stay vibrant in her golden years. She loved strawberries and made them a cornerstone of her diet, picking them fresh every June from a local farm and freezing them for winter smoothies. She'd read that strawberries were packed with antioxidants to protect her brain and heart. Elaine had mild hypertension, managed with a diuretic, and occasional joint pain that she attributed to aging. Her daily handful of strawberries seemed like the perfect way to stay healthy. Over time, however, Elaine began noticing troubling symptoms: morning dizziness, swelling in her joints, and a vague sense of fatigue. She dismissed these as part of getting older. Then, one morning, she woke up with numbness in her right hand and slurred speech. Her daughter called an ambulance, and a CT scan confirmed a minor ischemic stroke caused by a small blood clot in her brain. Blood tests revealed elevated uric acid levels, signs of oxidative stress, and low-grade systemic inflammation, markers that pointed to a slow-burning process likely fueled by years of exposure to pesticide-laden strawberries and their purine content. Elaine's stroke was mild, but it left her with persistent memory gaps and nerve sensitivity in her hand. Sitting in my office, she tearfully confided, "I thought I was doing everything right. How could strawberries hurt me?" Her story is a stark reminder that context matters in aging nutrition. A fruit that's a superfood for a 30-year-old may become a liability for an 80-year-old with underlying health conditions or a body less equipped to handle toxins and metabolic byproducts. How to enjoy strawberries safely. Strawberries can still have a place in your diet, but only with careful consideration. Here's how to minimize their risks. Choose organic every time. Organic strawberries are grown without synthetic pesticides, significantly reducing your exposure to neurotoxic chemicals. They're not perfect. Mold and purines are still concerns, but they're a safer bet. Wash thoroughly. Rinse strawberries under running water for at least 30 seconds, using a soft brush to remove surface residues. A vinegar soak, 1 part vinegar to 3 parts water, for 1 to 2 minutes can further reduce pesticides and mold spores. Limit frequency and portion. Avoid eating strawberries daily, especially if you have gout, kidney issues, or are on blood pressure medications. Stick to a small serving, 4 to 6 berries, once or twice a week. Beware of frozen and imported berries. Frozen strawberries, especially those from overseas, may come from farms with minimal oversight. Check labels for organic certification and country of origin. Consult your doctor. If you have a history of gout, kidney disease, or are on medications like diuretics or antihypertensives, ask your healthcare provider whether strawberries are safe for you. They may recommend blood tests to monitor uric acid levels. Diversify your antioxidants. Instead of relying on strawberries for antioxidants, incorporate low-risk fruits like blueberries, preferably organic, burgo, or bananas, which are lower in purines and pesticides. The bigger the truth about strawberries is a sobering lesson in the complexity of nutrition for older adults. What's marketed as a health food can carry hidden dangers: pesticides that build up in the brain, purines that fuel inflammation, and mold that silently stresses the body. These risks don't manifest overnight but accumulate over time, quietly eroding the body's resilience until a stroke, cognitive decline, or other health crisis reveals the damage. For seniors, whose bodies are less forgiving, the stakes are higher, and the consequences can be life-altering. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 6 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 9. Mango. Mangoes. They're the crown jewel of tropical fruits. Vibrant, juicy, and irresistibly sweet. For many seniors, a ripe mango feels like a wholesome indulgence, a slice of sunshine in a fruit salad, a smoothie at the local wellness cafe, or a bag of dried mango strips grabbed from the grocery store's healthy snacks aisle. Marketed as nature's dessert, their bright orange flesh is packed with vitamins A and C, fiber, and antioxidants, making them seem like the perfect choice for health-conscious older adults. But as a neurologist who has witnessed the devastating aftermath of strokes, I urge seniors to look beyond the marketing. For those over 60, especially those managing heart conditions, blood pressure, or multiple medications, mangoes can be a silent saboteur, quietly increasing stroke risk in ways that are rarely discussed. The first issue is mango's extraordinarily high sugar content. A single cup of diced mango, about one small fruit, contains approximately 45 grams of natural sugars, primarily glucose and fructose, with only 2.6 grams of fiber to slow absorption. To put this in perspective, that's more sugar than a glazed donut or a can of soda. Unlike complex carbohydrates, which release energy gradually, the sugars in mangoes are rapidly absorbed, causing a sharp spike in blood glucose followed by an insulin surge and, often, a subsequent crash. For seniors with insulin resistance, prediabetes, or type 2 diabetes, conditions that affect over 50% of adults over 65, this roller coaster effect places immense stress on the vascular system, particularly the delicate arteries supplying the brain. These blood sugar spikes trigger a cascade of harmful effects. When glucose levels surge, the body releases pro-inflammatory molecules like C-reactive protein, CRP, and interleukin-6, LE6, which irritate the endothelial lining of blood vessels. Over time, this inflammation causes arteries to stiffen and narrow, a process known as atherosclerosis. In the brain, where blood vessels are as thin as a human hair, these changes are particularly dangerous. Inflamed or damaged vessel walls can develop microscopic tears, prompting the body to form blood clots to seal them. While this is a natural repair mechanism, in a narrowed or stiffened artery, these clots can block blood flow entirely, leading to an ischemic stroke. Even without a full stroke, repeated sugar spikes can cause silent brain damage, manifesting as memory lapses, difficulty concentrating, or balance issues, symptoms often mistaken for normal aging. But the danger of mangoes extends beyond sugar. Mangoes contain bioactive compounds, notably mangiferin, a polyphenol with antioxidant properties that, paradoxically, can pose risks for seniors on certain medications. Mangiferin has been shown in studies to inhibit the cytochrome P450 enzyme system in the liver, a critical pathway for metabolizing many prescription drugs, including those used for heart rhythm, e.g., amiodarone, blood pressure, e.g., amlodipine, metoprolol, and cholesterol, e.g., atorvastatin. When this enzyme system is suppressed, medications linger in the bloodstream longer than intended, increasing the risk of toxicity, side effects, or dangerous interactions. For example, a buildup of blood pressure medications can cause hypotension, dangerously low blood pressure, leading to dizziness, falls, or even fainting, scenarios that can precipitate a stroke by reducing cerebral blood flow or promoting clot formation. Let me share the story of Mr. William Booker, an 83-year-old retired firefighter from Reno, Nevada. William was a model of healthy aging. He walked 3 miles daily, ate a balanced diet, and avoided processed foods. Seeking a heart-healthy alternative to sweets, he began snacking on dried mango slices every afternoon, often consuming a small bag, equivalent to 2 fresh mangoes, while reading or watching TV. William was also diligently taking his prescribed medications for hypertension and atrial fibrillation, a heart rhythm disorder that already increased his stroke risk. After a few weeks of his new mango habit, he started experiencing morning lightheadedness and occasional confusion. One morning, as he rose from bed, he collapsed, his face pale and the left side slightly drooping. His wife called 911, and at the hospital, imaging confirmed a minor ischemic stroke caused by a small clot in a cerebral artery. Blood tests revealed a perfect storm. William's blood pressure had dipped dangerously low overnight, systolic BP of 85 millimeters of mercury, well below his usual 130 millimeters of mercury, and levels of his beta blocker, metoprolol, were elevated despite his adherence to the prescribed dose. His fasting glucose was also higher than expected, hinting at sugar spikes from the concentrated sugars in dried mangoes. After a thorough review, his medical team and I identified the culprit: The mangiferin in his daily mango snacks was slowing his liver's ability to metabolize his medications, causing a buildup that led to hypotension and erratic heart rhythms. The sugar spikes from the mangoes further inflamed his already compromised blood vessels, creating an environment ripe for clot formation. William survived, but the stroke left him with impaired coordination and short-term memory deficits, forcing him to rely on a cane and his wife's assistance for daily tasks. This case underscores a critical truth. Even healthy foods can become hazardous when combined with the realities of aging and polypharmacy, the use of multiple medications. Dried mangoes are particularly risky, as they concentrate the fruit's sugars, often exceeding 70 grams per cup, and are easier to overeat. For seniors, whose metabolic flexibility diminishes with age, and whose livers and kidneys process substances more slowly, mangoes can tip the body into a state of imbalance that quietly builds toward disaster. What can you do? Practical advice for seniors. To enjoy mangoes safely while minimizing their risks, consider these evidence-based strategies. Strict portion control. Limit mango to a small serving, 2 to 3 small slices, about a quarter cup, or 10 to 12 grams of sugar. No more than once or twice a week. Avoid dried mangoes, which are sugar-dense and easy to overconsume. Pair with protein or fat. Always eat mango with a source of protein or healthy fat, such as a handful of walnuts, a slice of cheese, or a dollop of Greek yogurt. These slow sugar absorption, reducing glucose spikes and inflammation. Time it wisely. Consume mango in the morning or early afternoon, when your body is active and better equipped to handle sugar. Avoid eating it at night, when metabolism slows and blood flow decreases, increasing the risk of vascular complications. Check medication interactions. If you take medications for blood pressure, heart rhythm, or cholesterol, consult your doctor or pharmacist about mango's potential to interfere with drug metabolism. Regular blood tests can monitor medication levels and kidney function. Opt for lower sugar alternatives. Consider fruits like berries or green apples, which have less sugar and fewer interactions with medications. If you crave tropical flavors, a small amount of papaya, with seeds removed, may be a safer option. Stay hydrated and active. Adequate hydration, 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, unless restricted by your doctor, and light activity after eating, e.g., a 10-minute walk, can help stabilize blood sugar and improve circulation. By treating mangoes as an occasional treat rather than a daily staple, you can savor their flavor without jeopardizing the conditions for a stroke. The key is moderation, timing, and awareness of how this fruit interacts with your unique health profile. If mangoes surprised you, you're not alone. But the good news is that with the right knowledge, you can make informed choices to protect your brain and heart. Comment number 9 below to let me know you're following along, and let's move to the final reflection, where I'll share brain-safe foods that heal rather than harm. Final reflection: the truth about fruit, aging, and protecting your brain after exploring 9 seemingly harmless fruits: bananas, grapes, mangoes, and more. You may feel a mix of surprise, confusion, or even betrayal. For decades, we've been told that fruit is nature's medicine, a guilt-free gift from the earth, synonymous with health and vitality. But for those over 60, the truth is far more nuanced and critically important to understand. Aging transforms how your body interacts with food, medications, and even the healthiest choices. Your kidneys filter more slowly, your liver metabolizes drugs less efficiently, and your blood vessels grow more fragile, less forgiving of sudden changes in blood sugar, pressure, or clotting factors. As a neurologist, I've seen the consequences of this disconnect. Patients who followed healthy diets only to end up in the ICU, their lives altered by a stroke caused by a clot no larger than a grain of rice. The habits we take for granted, a banana with breakfast, a bowl of grapes mid-morning, a mango smoothie after lunch, can silently build a foundation for disaster. These fruits, while nutrient-rich, can spike blood sugar, inflame blood vessels, or interfere with medications, creating a perfect storm for stroke risk. Consider the stories of patients like Mr. Raymond, whose daily banana tipped his potassium levels into dangerous territory, or Mrs. Jeanette, whose grape habit fueled inflammation that led to a mini-stroke. These are not isolated cases. Every year, millions of seniors unknowingly increase their stroke risk through dietary choices that seem innocuous but are profoundly consequential in the context of aging. The science is clear. As we age, our bodies become less resilient to rapid fluctuations in glucose, potassium, or blood pressure. Chronic conditions like hypertension, affecting 70% of adults over 65, diabetes, 25%, or atrial fibrillation, 10%, amplify these risks. Medications, while life-saving, add another layer of complexity, as many interact with fruit compounds or alter mineral balance. The brain, with its intricate network of tiny arteries, is uniquely vulnerable. A single clot or a brief interruption in blood flow can rob you of speech, mobility, or memory in seconds. What's most heartbreaking is that many of these events are preventable, not with more pills, but with better awareness of how food, timing, and aging intersect. But this isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. Not all fruits are dangerous, and with the right choices, you can nourish your brain, heart, and independence. Here are 5 brain-safe fruits and strategies to enjoy them wisely. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. These are low in sugar, 5 to 10 grams per cup, and high in polyphenol, antioxidants that reduce vascular inflammation and protect neurons. Studies show blueberries improve memory and reduce stroke risk by enhancing endothelial function. Eat half a cup daily, paired with Greek yogurt or nuts, preferably in the morning. Green apples, e.g., Granny Smith with a lower glycemic index, GI of 35 to 40 versus mangoes 50 to 60. Green apples provide steady energy without sharp sugar spikes. Their flavonoids support vascular health and reduce oxidative stress. Enjoy one small apple with almond butter or cheese as a mid-morning snack. Avocados. Technically a fruit, avocados are rich in monounsaturated fats that lower bad cholesterol and stabilize blood pressure. Their potassium is absorbed slowly, minimizing the risk of hyperkalemia. Use 1/4 avocado on whole grain toast or in a salad, ideally at lunch. Lemons and limes. These citrus fruits are sugar-free and support liver detoxification without interfering with most medications. Their vitamin C strengthens blood vessel walls. Add a squeeze of water or tea throughout the day for hydration and flavor. Pomegranates, in moderation. Pomegranate seeds or diluted juice, 2 to 3 ounces, mixed with water, offer potent antioxidants that protect against atherosclerosis. However, their sugar content and potential to interact with statins or blood pressure drugs require caution. Consult your doctor and limit to small servings. Key strategies for safe fruit consumption. Timing matters. Eat fruits early in the day, when your metabolism is active. Avoid them at night, when slower circulation and dehydration increase clotting risks. Pair with protein or fat. Combining fruit with nuts, cheese, or yogurt slows sugar absorption and stabilizes blood glucose. Monitor portions. Stick to small servings, e.g., half a cup of berries, 1/4 cup of mango, to avoid overwhelming your system. Check with your doctor. If you take medications for heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol, ask about fruit-drug interactions. Regular blood tests can monitor glucose, potassium, and medication levels. Stay hydrated and active. Drink 6 to 8 glasses of water daily and engage in light activity, e.g., walking, after eating to support metabolism and circulation. This journey through 9 fruits reveals a profound truth. Aging demands respect for your body's changing needs. You're not fragile, but you're different. The foods that fueled you at 30 or 40 can now tip the scales toward risk if chosen carelessly. Yet, with wisdom and intention, you can still enjoy life's sweetness safely. Every bite is a choice to protect your sharpness, your balance, and your independence. Read labels, ask questions, and think about how today's snack might affect your brain tomorrow, next week, or next year. You've earned this chapter of life through resilience and experience. Don't let a simple fruit become the silent thief of your health. Choose foods that heal, not harm, and keep your brain listening to the wisdom you feed it. Well, there you have it. The surprising truth about 9 everyday fruits and how they can silently increase stroke risk for those over 60, from bananas' potassium pitfalls to strawberries' hidden pesticide dangers. As a neurologist, I've shared these insights and real patient stories, like Mr. Raymond's and Mrs. Elaine's, to empower you with the knowledge to make smarter, safer choices for your brain and heart. Aging doesn't mean giving up the foods you love. It means enjoying them with wisdom, moderation, and awareness of your body's unique needs. So, what have you learned today that's opened your eyes? Maybe it's limiting your banana intake, choosing organic strawberries, or checking with your doctor about fruit medication interactions. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below with one key takeaway you're going to put into practice in your life to protect your health. If you found this video eye-opening, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more life-saving insights to keep you thriving in your golden years.